All right, failures left and right on Bring a Trailer, Cars and Bids, PCAR Market are even worse. And we're not just talking about failures to sell. We are talking about just listing failures, man. People are messing up. This is Bid Nerds. We're going to analyze some listings. We're going to make some predictions, and the bidding starts now. Bid Nerds is your YouTube car game show. Yes, it is. Welcome, everybody, to a brand new episode of Bid Nerds. Sorry, I teased one of the cars coming up later. My name is John Polnicker, coming to you live from the Container Park in downtown Las Vegas, as well as my partner, Michael Deeb, right over there in his brand new space. Tell what is going on, Michael Deeb, the new Bid Nerds cave. I love it.
This is
exciting.
It. Yeah, at an industrial park in Santa Fe, affectionately referred to as the Vineyard. We are live from the new studios. I'm in the warehouse, as you can see. There's Kev, the photographer's Miata, is in the background, and pardon the junk on over my shoulder. We are still unpacking. If I could turn the camera, I could show you a 20-foot U-Haul that's parked inside the warehouse with plenty of room around it. But we'll get this together, and it'll be nice. But JP, it's super fun to log in. I have to complain about the Wi-Fi, the upload speeds. I can't watch videos on my laptop. They buffer. We got a lot of bugs to work out, but we're already off and running in 2026, and these are the new digs. Fresh paint on the walls behind me. Next time you come in, hopefully there'll be some art on the walls, and we'll start to make an impression. But JP, I can't wait for you to come out here and help me set this place up. We're gonna have some fun.
That wall right behind you, I'm seeing, I think the Hippie Sips guys are sending us a big neon Hippie Sips sign. I think that's what we need in the background.
Let's go.
How dope would that be? All right,
awesome.
Okay, I love it.
Go.
Now we're thinking here. All right, guys, welcome everybody. If you are new to the channel, what we do here is we analyze listings on Bring a Trailer, Cars and Bids, PCAR Market, and more. When we analyze those listings, we use our analysis to make predictions. What will happen as a result of these listings, and that's where you can play along. It's like The Price is Right, only with cars on Bring a Trailer. So let's get after it. We always start off every episode by going over our predictions from the last episode, and that's where we hold ourselves accountable. How weird is that on the internet? That's just not a good idea. That's probably why our channel just nobody likes it. They're like, why? Who are these? You guys should be lying. You guys should be making stuff up. You should be lying about things. You should be, I don't know. That's all right. You read the thumbnail. The thumbnail got you. Also, thanks and shout out to everyone who's watching live tonight in the Nerd Herd. If you are watching live and you're not in the Nerd Herd, what are you doing? The best part of the show is getting into the conversation in the Nerd Herd and meeting really good friends. We should probably do just a bit of housekeeping too. Let everybody know that we are planning on going up north this May to Idaho Air, and that's Idaho Air. Yeah, they're just calling it Idaho Air. It was Idaho Air and Coffee, but now it's Idaho Air, which I think is great. Our good friend Kelly Smith up in Boise, and of course Our Smiths will be there, our big sponsor and good friends. Plus Anthony. A lot of the Nerd Herds will be there. Are you excited about this, Deep? I think we're going to have a pretty good train of cars going up from
I'm gonna be selling the 996 Turbo here pretty soon, and then I've got my, like when I bought the 996 Turbo, I was like, I'll never buy another air-cooled torsion bar car, and now I've got like a torsion bar car picked out that I'm praying will be done so that I can rock it in Idaho and kind of pull the covers off of it and show it to everybody. It's a very unusual car, JP. Everybody's going to love it. I'm very excited about that. But we got to sell the first car, and so Idaho Air is like, that's the carrot, JP. That's what we're all aiming for in May. That should be fun. If you can make the time to come up, our friends, the community in Idaho, are the most hospitable, generous, loving people ever. It's definitely, if you're even contemplating it, let JP and I push you over the edge. You should come out for that. It's not just the event, it's the town, it's the people, it's the culture up there. Really wonderful folks. We can't wait to go back. You should join us.
To be clear, if you are thinking of bringing a car to display at the event, you better register right now. I know the event is basically, almost 3 months away still, but register right now because spaces are being taken up. I mean, last I heard, 60 of the 100 available are already gone. So I suspect, but within a week or so, and really, Kelly hasn't really started advertising it at all. He's just kind of like put it out. In
it's just
networks.
us.
Yeah, it's just it's between us and a few people on the internet, on the World Wide Web. All right, and let's get to. Well, yeah, go ahead.
Is it at the exact same location?
It's not. It's not. He's got all new location, so it's a much better venue, I think. So we're excited to see that. I'll probably be going up to Idaho to visit Anthony and the PCA up there. Are you going to come up there, Deeb? We haven't discussed it yet. Yeah, we're going to
I
go
haven't
to their
officially
event.
been invited, but if I get invited, I'll definitely come. Yeah, for sure.
What do you mean? It's a pair, right? We're both kids. Come on, let's do it.
Nobody
year.
called me. Yeah. We were supposed to go, but you were hung up with something. Oh, were your teeth going crazy? Was that at that time?
Yeah. I got hung up. That's when I was having a dental emergency. Not recommended.
All right.
All right, enough of that. Oh, you know what? One more thing. Ganao, Ingo over at Ganao is saying congratulations, Deeb. He loves your spot. Oh, you can't wait to come and see it. So right on, Ingo, friend of the show, and
I will invite Ingo over for coffee tomorrow, essentially, and he can laugh when he sees what a mess this is. But Ingo started out in the East Bay really quickly, and then he and a partner took a studio in Novato, which is actually 5 minutes from my house. I'm a little bit further south, but Ingo's got a place just like this, and he put the big photo studio that Frank Harrington helped assist in some way, either constructing or brokering the deal to put that in. But Ingo takes all those beautiful studio shots inside a warehouse like this, just a few exits up the road. So all the cool guys are here. Thank you, Ingo, for the shout out.
Nice. All right, let's get after it. What was the first car on the list from the last episode? Michael D., what do we got?
Okay, all right. So we are going to circle back, and JP, get out your fork and knife because I think we got a little bit of crow to eat. Feast your eyes on what is essentially an authentic 1963 Chevrolet Corvette coupe that has been modified to look like those beautiful and super ultra rare and unobtainium ground sport cars. Now, this is not one of the, what's that famous company that makes all those hot rods, JP? Who's the guy that does these builds?
I'm totally missing on what you're, obviously you're not talking about Singer, so.
No, not Singer, but the guy who does the Corvette. Somebody does the Corvettes and the Cobras. I literally can't think of his name. It's not one of those. This one was basically totally custom done. The big news here,
are you
JP,
trying to? Were you saying like you thought it was a factory 5?
Yeah, it's
one
not
of those
factory
kit
5.
cars. Yeah, it's not like
Yeah, at first glance, you'll think this is a factory 5. This is not a factory 5. Somebody took and spent the time and the money to build this car essentially from scratch. So we've got a custom tubular chassis from 4-inch steel chassis. Talk about over-engineered. And all that to handle the power that is going to come from a stunning LS6 crate motor with a 6-speed manual transmission. And it looks like we're rocking on 17-inch Halabrand style wheels. Those wheels are a very cool design, but those would have come in 15-inch back in period. These are 17s to work with today's more modern, wider, stickier, low-profile tires. An extraordinary build, JP, but where I think they missed the boat on this one is that the final colorway of the car winds up being something that was so singularly attractive to the builder of the car that I feel that it's ultra polarizing today. We've got gray with silver with red pinstriping, and then a really bright, in Porsche speak, can red leather interior. And then the interior, of course, is, really doesn't look much. Aside from the dash, there's not much left of the interior to suggest that that's 60 Corvette. We've got, very Recaro looking seat, and then a modern steering wheel and cue ball shift knob and all that stuff. But it's a sea of red on the inside, and it's a really bright red. These colorways they don't have anything to do with Corvette's history wind up being polarizing. And while this car was super cool to the guy who bought it, I think it becomes really hard to sell in the secondary market. That being said, I didn't think this car would perform so well when it ran on Bring a Trailer as a standard listing out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, just last week. JP, our friends at Classic.com tell us that I think specifically custom C2 Corvettes bring about $195,000. 63 specifically bring almost $100,000 more. They ring the bell typically at $274,000. JP, this car has got a lot going for it, and the colorway can be modified with a livery, like you said. You could do black floor mats, so you could change the seats. You could work with this car. There's a lot going on, but I still didn't think it would hammer for much more than $135,000, and that's where I laid my bid. You took the under and went below me at $130,000, and together we will share a plate of black, overcooked, burnt crow. This mother effer got $175,000 at Hammer, where it's sold on 40 bids. JP, to the seller, I say, Happy New Year, because you absolutely got a Christmas present on January 5th or whatever the date was 2 days ago. That's extraordinary. I really didn't think it would go that high. And I'm happy that he took the money, that he got essentially enough that was agreeable to him to make the deal. That is a win where I really didn't expect to see one. I'm kind of blown away by that result. JP, did I miss a news cycle or a crypto spike? What is going on? That's a lot of dough for a car that would not appeal. Like, everybody thinks it's cool, but not everybody would lay out $175,000 to own it themselves. Do you know what I'm saying?
I think that, look, this is the fifth time's a charm, right? I mean, this car is sold. This is the fifth time it's sold, since 2018.
This is the most.
Yeah, but this is the most. But it did sell the last time a couple of years ago for 154, but is 174 is basically 154 2 years ago. Oh, so it's pretty flat. But honestly, I still think that this is a failure. I think given the fact that a stock or just a regularly modified, 63 Vet would bring $270,000. This car should be bringing that kind of money. It would cost you that much to build it, and I think the fact is that all those things that you pointed out just really ruined the possibilities of it. You know what you could do? Just changing the wheels. I mean, the wagon wheels on this thing are way too big for the car. Get wheels that are the right goddamn size, dude, and then bring the height down. Would really fix a lot of things. Replace the seats with some, I don't know, get some black seats or something like that. Sell those cans to someone else. There's so many things that you could do to this car. It would be very difficult to change the stripe because the idiot painted them on. For the life of me, I don't understand why anyone would paint a stripe on any car in this modern era when you can go get vinyl and change anything you want. You could make one livery one day and something completely different the other day, and you're not ruining the chances of selling the car to someone that goes, I hate white stripes with red pinstriping. Fine, great, just peel it off. You can't do that with this car. You're screwed. So yeah, it's going to be very difficult for someone who gets a hold of this car to un-F it and make it something that. But I do think, just if nothing else, if this had better wheels, just better wheels and ride height, could probably bring this car another $50,000. Yeah, and some meatballs and some, the right livery could really do something for this car. I don't know. What do you guys think of this silly Corvette? Was that well bought? Or do you, like me, think it was a failure, even though it brought a record number for the fifth time it tried to sell? Let us know in the comments, and let's move on. What's the next car on the list?
All right, JP, the car I'm going to cry I wish I owned. Check it out. Let's see. We've got a 1988 BMW E30 M3 that was put together by the fine folks at EAG, Enthusiast Auto Group out of Cincinnati, Ohio. They are the BMW M specialists in the United States. Our car is listed on PCAR Market, and the big news here, JP, is that the car has an S52 E36 M3 motor shoehorned under the hood of this car, and it was done by perhaps the best specialist secondary shop for M cars in the continental U.S., and that's EAG. Those guys are awesome. Now, when they sell a car, they sell their cars for top dollar, but it's because they go through the cars. They're so thorough, and they do a really good job. So the provenance of having EAG work on the car, on this car, to do the modification, the engine swap, I think is outstanding. The question is, are the assets up to the snuff, and would this car perform on PCAR Market? I personally think, JP, a car of this nature would have done better on BAT without even looking ahead at the results. Now, our friends at Classic.com remind us that E30 M3s from this generation typically bring $72,000 in the secondary market. JP, I thought our car might have a chance, because it wasn't performing well when we reviewed it. I thought it might have a chance to get up to $45,000. You took the over on this one. And again, the value is there. My bet was reflective of the platform. JP really is inspired by the changes that are going on PCAR market. Took the over at $51,030 for his bid. Now, we've got a couple of things to unpack. Our car initially hammered as a failure to sell on $45,000, and neither JP or I had time to count the number of bids that brought it to that. It seems, JP, they've gotten one offer post-hammer that is significantly up over that number. Nope, they got two. So they got an offer in the amount of $50,000 about 11 hours ago, and now it seems like the current offer, the buy it now price is $66,000. So they are still $16,000 away. So they got offered 50 post-hammer, didn't accept it. The car is essentially in what we like to call here the chum bucket. And if you decide you want to part with $66,000, you can have it, or you can make them an offer and negotiate. JP, I'm going to say this. Given who did the car and the colorway and the basic overall condition of the car, I'm just going to go on record and say I don't think $66,000 is a bad asking price, especially if that gets you to 58 or 59 or 60 grand. I'm not mad at that. That's not, sometimes we see something like 120 grand. You're like, what are they smoking in Oyster Bay? 66 is totally within the realm of a great starting place. I don't think they'll get that number, but the fact that they're asking that number, I think this car is very much in play for somebody who might like to have something really special. And again, the fact that EAG did the mod makes that number even more attractive to me. That's got to be perhaps one of the best driving E30 cars out there with a E36 M3 motor and all that suspension and handling and all that look with the boxed fender flares. I'm digging that car at that number. That's a great value. So where are you at?
It's amazing that this is a failure, given that the fact that this car failed to sell 6 months ago on the same platform for $51,000. The seller obviously kind of reassessed. When it failed to sell, they put it in the chum bucket for 70 grand. Right. Yeah. So here it is. They left it in the chum bucket for this whole time. Everyone knowing that they wanted $70,000 for it. That's just stupid. Why didn't they just, okay, fine, put it in the chum bucket for a few weeks. If it doesn't sell there, then get the car off the market, get people to forget about it, sit on it for a while. If you're going to come back to market 6 months later, for the love of God, at the very least, take some different assets, like new pictures, new photos, dress this thing up, get it, get the romance going. And why did they go for the same platform that clearly didn't work last time? This car belonged on BAT or even Cars and Bids. The fact that it FDS'd on the platform, sat there for 6 months, and then they retried it with the same stale assets is just the dumbest move. And it just makes me go, all right, well, I guess PCAR market's back to their same nonsense. Plus, I was watching when this car was closing, and I was watching on a desktop and everything was cruising along, and then I had to go and I was watching on my phone, and there were glitches left and right, man. It was like, what is going on? Did it end? Are there more bids coming? It was just sitting there saying processing when it was supposed to be over forever and ever and ever. I kept expecting to see sold after or something like that. And it was like, what is happening? The seller even noted in the comments saying it looks like there were glitches, but now he's trying to sell it for $66,000, $4 grand less than the 70. Come on, dude. That's chicken shit. Get off the market, sit on this car for 6 months, take it out of the goddamn classifieds, bring it back this summer, and you might actually get some money for it. Don't not to mention the fact that this thing's in Canada.
The bid nerds.
Or just call the bid nerds for crying out loud. Look, Deeb has a whole warehouse you can put the car in.
Yeah, let's go. The car would be great. That's such a good car. I'll buy it myself.
Yep, it does look like something fantastic. All right, let us know what you guys think of the results of that M3. Should the seller have put this car on a different platform, taking new pictures, or do you think the lazy approach was the right approach? Just rerun it again the same damn place. Why lift a finger to do anything to get more money? Oh, I don't know, because maybe you want more money? Dipshits. All right, let's move on. What's the next car on the list, Michael Deeb?
Oh, JP. So Lucas is texting me after we did the last show, and he's like, dude, I'm so sorry. I thought you knew that was JP's Cayenne. And I was like, man, you used to have a car just like this. And you're like, that's my car, you idiot. I'm like, oh, dude, whoops.
It looks just like it because it is it. Yeah, here it is.
Yeah. It's exactly the same. This is PCAR Market was selling JP's twice old. He had it twice in his life. 2008 Porsche Cayenne E1 .2 base model with a 6-speed manual in with the Sahara beige interior. JP, we had so much fun in that car. we really drove the shit out of that car. I mean, I remember it affectionately. The black wheels, I think, kind of threw me off. And of course, when you had it, it was dirt out with all the Dur fascination stickers, which was hilarious. But man, you used to just drive the snot out of this thing. So the car's on PCAR Market. It was listed out of Madison, Wisconsin, now showing about 135,000 miles. JP, the car wasn't doing well, and it had a reserve, and neither one of us thought that this car was actually going to sell, which was really interesting. So let's take a look. Classic.com tells us that those E1 manual cars bring $15,000 in the secondary market. I thought the car, am I looking at the right car? Hold on a second. Yeah, okay, so I thought that the car would get to $9,570. You didn't think it would get to $5,000 because the listing was just doing so poorly early on. JP, it looks like our car failed to sell at $6,097. And that was just on 12 bids, but then it sold after for $10,000. So let's just go, instead of the hammer, and you got the win on that, but let's just go straight to the result at $10,000. You've owned that car twice. You see the ratty condition that it's in now. Is that a good buy at $10,000? Like, can you fix that up without burying yourself in expense when it's time for you to get off it? Or do you think that was just really well sold and he's lucky he got the $10,000 he did?
Well, I don't know. For starters, maybe try taking a picture of the car without barbed wire in the back. Generally, that's one of the just basic rules. The bid nerds were kind of like, we have a no barbed wire in the background kind of rule. It's just,
we do?
I don't know. It's not really a rule. It's just kind of like, come on, guy, think this through. Okay, good question, right? I bought this car. We talked about it on the last episode. I want to say it was like in 2018 or something like that. And I bought it for $9,900. And the seller, the little dealership in your neck of the woods, he wanted...
Out here?
Yeah, he wanted 11, and I went back and forth with him for weeks. And that was back when Cayenne manuals were not what people wanted. Right. You know, he finally said, all right, fine, 10. I'm like, no, 9,900 is all I'm paying you. And no tax, no dock fees, nothing. And I flew out and bought it, and he picked me up from the airport in 356, and it was great. Great guy, and I wish I could remember his name. Look, then I sold it to another guy like a year or two, about a year and a half, 2 years later, for I want to say like 12 or 13. And then, you know, there were lockdowns or whatever. And I want to say sometime in late 2020, he called me up and said, hey, I'm getting rid of this thing. Do you want it? I bought it back. So I flew out to Ojai, I flew to LAX and sat in an Uber in the back of this crappy little Uber car. Took forever to get an Uber because everything was totally locked down. And I sat in that car for like an hour and a half driving up to Ojai to pick the car up and then drove it home or whatever. And shout out to Sean. He was great. And we were talking about it in the comments. Hey, maybe we should buy this back. Maybe we should go in halvesies. So we were having some fun with it. But really, and then I sold it on BAT with this listing with real photos, and the thing looks awesome, and we got $20,000 for it, right? I don't think it's still a $20,000 rig because of the condition that it's in now. But look, I think it's a $15,000 car. All day long. It should have been on a different platform. It should have had better photos. If you're going to sell a car, and it is not, look, a lot of times people take cars and they take photos of their cars in dilapidated areas. You have a spot that's out by the water somewhere that's like an old military base or something, and it's very derelict, old concrete, and there's probably some graffiti on some of the walls and stuff like that. That's kind of cool as long as it's you know, that's in the background and that's diffused, and then you have some beautiful like Mangusta or some gorgeous car. You're showing a contrast of beauty and this kind of like decay decay in the background. You can't do that when your car is kind of decayed too. When your car looks like the dumpy neighborhood, this just looks like a total shithole. I don't know where this is, but I don't want to be there, and and the car's not pretty enough to make me go, oh, that looks cool, because it's kind of, no, it's just like everything about this listing just looks like they didn't care. So yeah, and that's why I didn't think it would get much more than $5,000, and I was right. And it is kind of cool that they were able to get the sale after the fact. Somebody saw through all this nonsense, and our good friend Anthony Vieira at Our Smiths always likes to say that this is a good platform to find deals. You still can find deals on PCAR Market sometime. Yep. And the seller was reasonable. They took $10,000 for it. I don't know if this seller is the person that I sold it to, who bought it for 20. They took a bath on it, whatever. But it shouldn't have been that much. I don't know what happened to all the cool stuff that was on it.
The Carfax on that car is longer than Santa's list, you know?
Yeah, and my name's on it like 3 or 4 times, a bunch of times. Like my shit, then someone else's shit, then back to them. I was definitely considering buying it back, but I have a manual Cayenne right now, so there it is. All right, guys, what do you think of the results of that Cayenne? $10,000 seems like a pretty reasonable amount. I think someone could clean this thing up, replace that rear bumper, and get the original wheels back on it, do a couple things. You could probably get $15,000 for it in a few months. Just put it back on a real platform with real photos. And I don't know, call the bid nerds and we can do it for you.
And have fun driving it in the meantime. That is a seriously fun car.
Probably should have bought it for $10,000. What was I thinking? All right, guys, let us know. Let's move on. What's the next car?
All right, JP, we're going to take a quick peek. Cars and Bids had a 1993 Mazda RX-7 with the R1, which is the real sport performing car. You have cloth seats and better suspension and better brake pad material and better tire compound, rear wing, front chin spoiler. This particular car on Cars and Bids has only 38,600 miles and was listed out of Stratham, New Hampshire. JP, these are really cool cars. It's one of my favorite cars from the 90s is the RX-7. And if I was going to get one, I would hold out for an R1 because they're just, turned up to 11. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And Classic.com agrees with me. The price in the secondary market for the average RX-7, the FD with an R1 package, is a whopping $56,000. JP, this car, I think, is probably a $60,000 or $70,000 example, perhaps even more. But this listing didn't seem like it was going anywhere. And reading the tea leaves when we reviewed it, I thought that this car would hammer at just $51,000. John, you took the under at $39,999. And then our car wound up failing to sell at $50,505 on 42 bids. So JP, where do you think this guy went wrong? He missed the mark.
I think his reserve was unrealistic. I mean, look, if you're going to go out with a car like this that's supposed to be special, you got to treat it like it's special, like we say constantly over and over and over again. Take good assets, take some decent photos. This is an okay photo find, but it just generally this listing didn't feel like they cared that much.
It's a dealer.
You took. Sorry. You didn't take the words out of my mouth, but I was just about to say there's nothing worse than the stupid 1993 sticker on the windshield. I mean, look, guys, this isn't. Who cares? What are you doing? Take the stickers off. Don't treat this like the car, the special car that it is. And I think that people just they see the listing, and they feel, the seller doesn't care. This must not be that special because they're clearly not treating it special. And I think that a lot of people may have looked at this listing, they may have looked at this thumbnail and said, I'm not even clicking on it because this is just a run-of-the-mill FD or whatever it is. They didn't realize it was an R1. It just got passed over because it just doesn't grab you. It doesn't say, hey, check this out. This is something that you should really be paying attention to. Even if you care about RX-7s, you're probably like, whatever. But let us know what you guys think in the comments and what's next.
All right, JP, we're going to take a quick look at the Bid Nerds listing for a 2008 Dodge Sprinter 2500 camper conversion. JP, our car ran on Bring a Trailer out of Brisbane, California, showing 172,000 miles. But the big news here is that this car was bespoke build by the current owner / seller. He built it out. The artist did live in the van and take it, basically transcontinental. There's living quarters. There's, sort of a kitchen quarters. There's a stand-up shower with a toilet. There's tanks for fresh water, gray water, black water. the whole thing, shebang. And then when you open up the back and the barn doors, there's tons of storage for your art or your mountain bikes or whatever your hobby might be. For the guy who wants to get out on the road and take his hobby with him across the country and not have to pay for hotels, this is exactly that rig. It's the Dodge platform and not the Mercedes. We debated that there's, arguably a quantifiable value for the Mercedes titled cars and the Mercedes grilled cars. Otherwise, the vans are essentially the same. This one is pretty cool. Also, it's a 2,500 platform. They tow 5,000 pounds, and this one is powered by a 3-liter turbo diesel V6. So you're going to get outstanding, mileage to a tank of fuel once you get out on the road. Now, JP, this car had been in a couple of accidents, and it is high miles at 172,000 miles. We ran the car. We hoped for the best, but this was one of the first times in the last 3 years where I have to admit, I just got it wrong. So despite Classic.com telling us the average selling price for a Sprinter is $84,000, and that mostly includes Mercedes, and that includes cars from as far back as 95 to as current as this year. JP's bid was $45,000, and our car hammered nowhere near that number. Our hammer, after a really good auction, came in at $18,000, where it failed to sell on 34 bids. Now, JP, I will disclose we had a $40,000 reserve in place, but the seller's expectations were higher than that. I really didn't do enough due diligence to make myself as acutely aware of the market as I do for everything else we sell. I somehow missed the mark on this. I really thought the car had a chance to get up to that number. And then when we take a closer look and we consider the mileage, the accident, and what these things actually sell for when they go all the way back to 2008, the hammer price, while it's low, could be indicative of the real value being somewhere in the $20,000 to $30,000 range is what we're hoping to do. We're hoping to strike a post-hammer deal. The car is still available. If anybody is interested, please reach out to us offline. We'd love to discuss it with you if you know somebody that might like the car. But man, we were really just in different spectrums when we went to market versus what the car hammered for. We had great engagement. We got great assets from Kev, the photographer. Man, I really took this one on the chin, JP, and it was just a great learning experience about all the due diligence that's necessary before we go to market. And sometimes when you learn the most from the ones that don't work, and this one wind up being exactly that. What do you make of the hammer versus what we see these things go out for versus just the tremendous value this one is with all the new parts, all the custom stuff, and how niche a car like this is?
I don't think you were really that far off. I don't think it's worth much more than 40, but I don't think it's worth much less than 40. If I own this thing, I would definitely want, at least somewhere in the mid 30s for this rig, because it is very nice. The miles, who cares? It's a diesel. The miles are not a problem. It's not like anybody's going, oh, it had an accident, so I don't want it. It's not a collector car. Nobody's taking their paint meters to their van, right? I think the fact is that the van life is just not as big a deal as it used to be. And I think that the folks who are looking for stuff like this are not even considering BAT. They probably haven't even heard of BAT. Right. The place to sell something like this is probably, on consignment at an RV place. That's the bottom line. Is this isn't the kind of thing that I don't know. Is there a BAT for RVs? There might be. I've never looked, but there are for just about every other genre of types of cars and stuff. So maybe that's another place that you go. But I just these Sprinter vans, they're too expensive they're just not the people that want them aren't looking on BAT, and the amount of money that you'd have to spend to get the interior like this one is just ridiculous. I think there's a really good value here for someone's going to get a great van, but sorry it didn't work out for you.
The amount of work that he did to build this car is extraordinary. And ironically, that front end collision that he had got the insurance company to pay for radiators and serpentine belts and everything in the front end of the block, all the hoses and sensors and all the drives and stuff. All of that has been replaced. So now it's like there's even more miles in front of this motor because all the wear and tear items aren't worn out. They're all brand new on all the ancillary stuff on the front of the motor is everything all the way to the grill is new. Headlights, everything. So it's really extraordinary. So, when we sell this vehicle, the next lucky owner is going to have himself quite a value. So there you go. But by all means, reach out if you're still interested in the car. It's here with us. Okay.
Keep in mind, too, there are a lot of RVs out there that were financed back in the day when financing was cheap and people wanted these things. And now the market is just full of like big RVs. You can get a lot of big RV for 40 something grand. But I think a lot of people want the smaller ones because they're more usable. So anyways, Buddha suggests RV Trader. I guess there's a whole RV Trader. Good tip, Buddha. All right, guys, stick around. We aren't going anywhere. We're just getting started. We got new predictions coming up right after this. Hey guys, you're probably looking at your watch and wondering if Bid Nerds will ever end. So you better talk to our friends at Our Smiths to make sure your Rolex, Tag Heuer, AP, or any fine timepiece is in tip-top shape. Our Smiths, fine Swiss repair. All right, guys, we are back. Make sure you crack open a can of Hippie Sips because it is time for predictions and whatever the hell they put in this can. I know there's some THC in here. There's a bunch of organic stuff in here. It tastes really good, but also that combination of whatever is in this label here and the ingredients, you're going to have to look closely and read that yourself. It gives you superpowers. It makes you bid better than the Bid Nerds. Anytime JB comes on the show, he always kicks our ass. Hippie Sips is redefining social drinking with organically infused beverages. It's healthy, it's flavorful. Get yourself a case of Hippie Sips at hippiesips.com. You're going to have to find out if it's legal where you're at. We don't know. Sure. Guys, do me a favor and just look. Hold on, Deeb. You've got everybody's hanging out in the nerd herd right now. You've got a computer or phone in front of you. Do us a solid and go to hippiesips.com. Just go to the website. I'm not saying you have to buy a case or anything like that. Just go to the website, give them some traffic, give them some love, let them know that you heard about them from the Bid Nerds. What were you going to say, Deep?
I was going to ask you how many states it was legal.
I don't know. I don't know any of those answers.
I think it's like 27 or something, I think.
Yeah, a whole bunch. And, speaking of the nerd herd, thanks for hanging out with us, guys. You know that there is swag available at, I don't even know website. It's the Air and Water Design collections there. The link is in the description below. Go buy yourself some hats, some T-shirts. You've got Idaho Air coming up. You should show up to Idaho Air in a Bid Nerds hat or T-shirt. If you don't, I think people are going to kind of make fun of you. They're going to be like,
"Yeah,
wait, you're here at Idaho Air and you don't have a Bid Nerds hat on? Yeah. Who are you? Why are you here? Get out of here, man. You just won't be in the cool kids crowd at Idaho Air if you don't have yourself a Bid Nerds hat or T-shirt. So get down there and in the description, click on that link and go buy yourself some swag. Support the show. Come on, guys. You love the show. We're here twice a month. We're here all the time. Deep got a whole damn new studio just for you people. So support the show. Appreciate it. All right. Love you guys. Let's get after it. It is time for predictions. What is the first car on the list? Let's get after it. I'm excited.
I picked out a car for the Persian Pillow. Check out this 1991 Mercedes-Benz 560 SEC in black with just 29,000 miles. JP, this has donor car written all over it. I don't care what you do to swap it, but this car is begging for some horsepower. I've always loved the way these cars look with the, these are, JP, the way my dad taught me about a coupe, and I think you agree. You got a front window and a back window with no B-pillar, right? So the front window and the rear window open up and the entire side of the car is open. This, to me, is the true definition of a coupe. One of the prettiest ones from that period. And even the stock drivetrain, while it's not like super power, still it's a 5.5 liter V8. It's a 4-speed automatic. This car has a limited slip differential. I don't dig those wheels. I'd put some AMG monoblocks on it. I'd remove the red pinstriping, and then you can go to town. You tint the windows, lower the car, and then pick your motor to swap it out with. This one's got the updated interior, JP. That interior looks almost like a 500e. It's the more contemporary 90s steering wheel. There's a lot to like about this car. It's on BAT. It's listed out of, let me give it to you. What am I doing? Niles, Ohio. So you probably want to check the underside, make sure there's no corrosion down there. But JP, the odometer, I think is really going to drive the sale on this car. I think this car is poised to do pretty well. And, we covered quite a few of these cars. The AMG ones and some of the modified cars, the resto mods that they're making out of this platform, I feel like these cars are having a moment, a little bit of a renaissance all last year. This is probably one of the nicest early cars in the calendar year. It'll be interesting to see if people are still paying good money for the better examples. The only problem here is, JP, is it's not only the poor quality of the assets, but the location of where they shot the car. And now I'm talking like an elitist prick, but it just looks like it's like in a meh neighborhood. And these cars are synonymous with like luxury and, Beverly Hills and the Hamptons and all that bullshit. You gotta play the game if you want to get the cheese. You got to take these cars out where there's no, unkept yards and, outdoor air conditioning systems. Like this just looks like, I don't know. It looks kind of trailer parkish, even if it's not a trailer park. You know what I'm saying? So that's a bummer. I think that's going to temper bids. And then the floor mats are rubber. Pull the floor mats out and let's see the carpets. Let's make sure they're not all stained. The cat didn't vomit down there and all this other stuff. There's just a better way to present the car. And so, this could wind up being a pretty good value for somebody. You could take it, do all the stuff we said, bring it back to market, and maybe make 20-30% on the car. So JP, I really dig these. This model had a really good year last year. If you had one of these or you speculated on one, your car went up in value. Is this going to be more of the same, or is this poor presentation going to hold it back? What are your thoughts?
Well, this car has mad potential, but yeah, we just came off of the I don't know, was it the holiday season, right? And I don't know about you, but part of Christmas is watching A Christmas Story, and this looks like these assets were shot in that neighborhood. Everything looks just dilapidated. I keep expecting the hounds to come running out with the turkey that they stole off the table. I mean, dude, it's raining. The guy just rolled it out of a garage, and it's raining, and he's taking snapshots on it. What the hell? This car could make serious money, and whatever it brings, it will probably wind up surprising us because these are great cars and people are searching for them. But this dude's leaving so much money on the table. Spend a little bit of money on a detail, spend a bunch more money on a photographer, and hell, call the bid nerds, and you could be looking at a really, really nice check at the end of this auction. But I think instead it's going to be a nice check, and he'll probably be happy with it. But this is just a lazy ass listing. What do you think it's going to bring?
All right, JP, Classic.com tells us that the 560 SEC are only $31,000 in the secondary market. JP, despite this really horrible listing, our car is already up to $48,100 on 11 bids, and it closes tomorrow in about 15 hours. JP, initially I thought this car would get to 60 grand, and I know it's off to a good start, and it still could get there. But upon closer inspection, I just don't see that happening. So if it's at 48 now, I think it maybe get 10 more. I'm going to go to $58,000 and say that it sells, and it's still a bargain because I think this car has the potential to be an $80,000 example with the odometer and the pretty good condition that the interior is still in. If this car checks out underneath, there's a lot left on the table. You could buy this car, have a little fun with it, and still sell it for some real money. JP, 58 grand to you. We're at 48, and it hammers tomorrow.
You're at 58. I'm going to go over. I'm going to say 60. I think this car could go into the 70s. And frankly, all of our dealer buddies in the nerd herd right now are chomping at the bit because everybody knows that this car is worth way more than that. Chris Carbine is already going, change the wheels, detail the damn thing, get some good pictures. Yeah. This is a $90-something thousand car. With that few miles, are we kidding? I mean, it looks like a $5,000 Facebook Marketplace ad. It is. But, present it correctly. And, I mean, this guy is leaving tens of thousands of dollars on the table with such a crappy listing. I would be comfortable if I were a dealer and I had flooring money, or I had money to go buying cars. I would just buy this for whatever it goes for tomorrow. Buy it for whatever it goes for tomorrow. You're going to make 20% at least. Even if this thing hits 90, fine. This is a $120,000 car. If it hits $120,000 tomorrow, fine. This is a $150,000 car. I don't know what the top end is, but it's more than whatever it will sell for, because this idiot couldn't get off his ass and hire some, the bid nerds or someone decent to list it for him. This is just stupidity on BAT. This is total failure.
If you go out and buy this car tomorrow, you only owe the bid nerds $500 for the tip. That's all we're asking.
Straight. All right. What do you guys think?
Or a case of Hippie Sips.
Man, that's not too shit. Look, is this guy drinking too much Hippie Sips? You can drink too much Hippie Sips, you guys. If you get some Hippie Sips, just take it easy. This stuff is great, but it's potent, man. It's potent. It works. All right. Let us know what you guys think of this 500 SEC. What is this idiot seller's problem? And while you're at it, go on to the listing and say you saw the listing on Bid Nerds, and hopefully the seller will watch the episode and not feel too bad and go, maybe he's got another really nice car in that piece of crap garage that he can hire us. All right, let's move on. What's the next car on the list?
All right, JP, there is on Bring a Trailer perhaps the most unusual 914 I have ever seen. And here's what we got. It's a 1976 Porsche 914 convertible conversion that also has a 2.2 liter flat six. So JP, I have seen a 914 convertible before, but take a close look. The rear track is way wider than stock. That is a modified rear end to hold way wider rear wheels, because they've got this hot 2.2 liter flat six in the back of the car. So there is a lot to unpack with this car. And what do we think that convertible top is off? I mean, I honestly think you just do away with the convertible top and make it a roadster. I would drop the whole convertible name and call it a 914 Roadster. And then based on that track and that powertrain, those seats are the wrong seats for this car. Those seats offer zero lateral support. But man, I don't know. It's kind of goofy looking. Like the assets are poor and the Fuchs are chrome, which immediately turns me off. But when I look a little bit closer, this car is not that bad. And I bet with the powertrain and the convertible nature, it's probably a hoot to drive. I wonder how far they've gone as far as strut tower braces or whatever underneath to kind of secure the platform. You take that roll hoop off, and I imagine this becomes a platform that'll flex a lot. So you might want to address that with some extra bracing so that you can go and drive it. Otherwise, it really is just a poser car, and then at that point, I have no interest.
But anyway, look up. See, there you go. Look at your screen. There's all the stuff there.
Yeah, they did it. Yeah,
they did it.
They were thinking what I was thinking. Yeah, so I think this car's probably got the goods. JP, I'm telling you, man, I think this thing's ready to go yard. I think this thing's going to go deep. I dig it. I think there's a lot to like here. Somebody's invested a lot of engineering and money into the car, and I bet this thing is an absolute blast to drive. So JP, very cool car. I'm glad you picked this one. Tell us your thoughts, because you've owned 914s. I've only had one, and it was almost too stiff with the roll bar. I never felt comfortable in the car, and I wound up selling it before I hacked it up because I didn't have the money to spend on it to make it the way I wanted. So I just sort of let it go. But this is a really interesting car. What do you see? What do you like about it?
Well, I have seen this car in person. This car showed up. Yeah, that's why I picked it. This car, very unique. I got off the phone with our good friend Tony Mazzagatti over at 900 Series. Shout out to our friends over there, friend of the show. And I'm not sure if he's watching right now. But this car showed up in Vegas here at his shop, a little, Porsche service shop here, independent. Everybody knows him here in Las Vegas. Great guys. The car did not look that great. It had some the seats, the inserts weren't checkered like this. They were like purple. The sensibilities were terrible. I think it had a purple steering wheel. I mean, it just had some really awful stuff. Tony went through and really cleaned up a lot of the details. But it turns out, I can't remember if the owner had inherited this car or bought it from someone who had recently passed. But they thought it was a $1 million car. They're like, oh, I heard Porsches are worth all the money, and this is this has a 6-cylinder, so it's worth like hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? It's an original 6. They thought it was original 914.6, which of course it's not. Gary took the engine out over there, and the engine was just a total mess. No one had any idea what size it was. Like, parts on it were from a 2.7, but it turns out it was a 2.2. I mean, it was just like it was just a basket case, right? So 900 series did a really good job fixing a lot of issues. One thing that the really discerning eye. This is one of the things that you really have to know 914s. But yeah, maybe not. Take a look at this photo. Tell me, you noticed that the fenders, these aren't the typical flares that they put on. Is there anything that's jumping out at you? There should be if you're a 914 person. I'll give you a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'm zooming in. Look at this area right here. Can you guys see my cursor? It's going around the windshield rake. The windshield rake is it's a deeper degree. They raked the windshield further back, so it's usually much more erect. So they cranked it down a little bit. And look at the wing window, right? Usually the wing window goes right up to the T. So Tony had to redo these wing windows and redo the seals because it wasn't like you could buy those from anyone. They are custom made. So that's one of the things that actually makes the car look kind of cool. It gives it. I don't think speedster, or you were saying roadster. I don't think that's the right word because roadsters have tops, but speedsters often don't. This is more of a speedster. The windshield hasn't been chopped, but it's been raked, so that effectively makes it a little lower. I think this is a 914.6 speedster, if you're going to call it anything. All that said, neat car, but will anyone give a crap? Will somebody pay any money for this thing like they would a 914.6? What do you think it's going to bring?
All right, JP, our friends at classic.com tell us that the 914s bring, on average, all of them together, 6s and 4s, all 914s on average bring $33,000 in the secondary market. JP, our car is currently sitting at $20,250, and that comes to us by way of 16 bids. There are a lot of people on this car at the moment, so I'm just going to go with, initially I thought this car would peter out at $28,000. But after taking a deeper dive, I like what I see there, and all that work that went into the engineering to keep that rear end together so that you could actually floor this car. I think somebody's going to jump on that. So I'm going to go $30,000 even and say that it sells at my number. JP, where do you think? You're going to go over or under 30 grand? We're at 20 now.
Well, this listing is very confusing in a lot of ways. Like, one of the pictures in the actually, I'll just go ahead and show it to you here. Right, here's the library of pictures. Right, the bank of pictures. One of the pictures shows this. This is in the inventory of photos. So it says Porsche 911S 2.2 liter engine and transmission. This shows that it sold on BAT for $17,700. So you're sitting there going, okay, well, wait, does that mean, is that the engine that's in the car? Why is this in the bucket of photos for the car? The reason why that photo is in there is to illustrate that the engine's worth at least that, apparently. This is not the engine that's in the car. What are you doing putting this in the bucket? BAT, why are you doing this? This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen BAT do. Maybe not the dumbest, but this is something that you would expect to see on PCAR Market. That's the kind of shenanigan. But what he's trying to say is that this car is worth more in parts than maybe it is as a car. And a lot of the folks in the nerd herd are kind of on the same sentiment. Yeah, go ahead.
If your approach is this car is worth more in parts than it is as one, you are in big trouble when it comes to the retail number. That is the wrong approach.
Well, but the nerd herd seems to think that it's worth more than what you're saying. Most everybody's higher than 30. I'm going to go over. You play it safe. I'm going to go. I was going to say 31,914, but Vampire Bear took that, so I'll go 32,914. I think I'm safe. I think that but I don't think anyone who buys this is going to part it out. I think someone's going to buy this, and this is for someone. It's not for everyone, but someone likes this. I would love to have seen a driving video of this thing to show how it works, because that's not in the listing, and that really would have helped and probably would have brought more money. All right, we got to move on from this thing. Let's move on. What's the next car on the list?
All right, JP, let's go big money here. Check out this 2013 2013 McLaren 12C Spider with just 11,000 miles from new. The MP4 12C was McLaren's first sort of modern car that they built out of the factory in Woking, England. And the big thing here is you had this like small 3.8 liter V8 with twin turbochargers. And JP, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but all these 12Cs, these first McLarens, all had an active suspension, like an air suspension. This car did not have conventional springs and shocks and struts and that sort of thing. And so while the cars had a tremendous performance envelope, the feedback and the feel from this, crude early active air suspension that the cars were built on was a little bit unnerving. And so prices for used 12Cs have often been well under $100,000. But JP, the inflation and the value of dollar, you often say on the show, the tide rises all ships. And I think that's kind of what's happening here. So this is a low mileage example. It's an excellent colorway in the dark gray metallic with this sort of like Hermes orange leather interior that is indicative. Orange is McLaren's factory color. So they get away with using orange a lot. That's kind of in their cultural DNA. The low mileage, the incredible performance, and I'm sure there's plenty of updates and tunes out there to squeeze a boatload more horsepower out of one of these things. Initially, it was rated at 616 horsepower with 443 pound-foot of torque. Imagine giving that thing an ECU flash today. I would imagine 700 of the tires is easily on tap. And it's a good-looking car, and it's a retractable hardtop. I mean, they call it a Spider, but JP, when the top is down, this thing actually looks more like a contemporary Targa, if you ask me. But JP, you used to be able to pick up these cars for $60,000. Our car's already at 82, and it's got a couple of days to go. Cool thing in the back of this, JP, you might remember the 12Cs have the exhaust that comes straight out of the back of the grill above the license plate. And when you really get on it, like say we're at night and we're driving to the airport in Vegas, you might see flames spinning out of the back of the car under de-acceleration, that kind of thing. So really, really cool, exotic car without being, terribly exotic. And I feel like, they're still a pretty good bargain. Where else are you going to get 600 horsepower for perhaps under $100,000? JP, what are your thoughts?
Look, if you're a photographer or an automotive videographer and you're like, man, I'm just not making it, I'm not getting enough clients, move to Ohio. Apparently there aren't any photographers there. What the goddamn is going on in Ohio? Friend of the show, Casey Pooch, I think was the last name. He's in Ohio. He's running for governor. He was on the show a few months ago. Maybe he knows someone who could take pictures of your damn car in Ohio. What is with people shooting their cars in the rain in crappy parking lots? Again, this is a car that's special, I guess. I'm not a McLaren fan. I'm kind of McLaren blind. I can't tell one from another. It's like, what is it called? There's a certain type of affliction that some people can't read faces. They see faces, but they can't recognize them. Oh, wow. There's a specific type of ailment, some kind of specific syndrome that people have that they can't recognize faces. They can recognize voices and all kinds of stuff. Usually there's some kind of savant, but that's the way I am with McLarens. I can't tell one from the other. They all look the same to me. I don't care about them. They're ridiculously expensive and difficult to maintain. All you hear is that they constantly break. I've never owned one, so maybe I'm wrong. You guys can tell me I'm completely wrong. But this car just does nothing for me, and I do think that the values of them are going up. I do agree with you, Deeb, that rising tide rises all ships. How much will this one bring?
All right, JP, Classic.com has a number for us. They tell us that the 12C Spider is $104,000 in the secondary market. This one is an attractive colorway. It's got low miles. And it's still an incredible performance bargain. We're sitting at $82,013, and we got 2 days to go until it closes. I don't see any reason in the world why this car won't make it to Classic's average. So I'm going to steal it. I'm going to say $104,000, and that will get this one. That'll get your butt into those seats right there. And I think that's still a pretty good value for $104,000. Even if JP doesn't know what McLaren you own, you'll still look cool.
What was your number?
104.
Yeah, and it's at 80 something now.
82.
82. Yeah, I think it breaks 100. I'll go 105. I think people are throwing money around. And again, I think this is going to be one of those listings that whatever it brings, they're leaving money on the table. Whatever it brings tomorrow, this car, 10% more at least, because this is just a terrible, terrible listing. Again, we're just talking about failures on BAT, not just failures to sell, but failures to really maximize the results of your listing. That's why you got to call the Bid Nerds, people. If you don't want to deal with it, if you don't want to sell your car, it's too hard for you, you can't figure out how to find a photographer or just call us. Let us do it for you. I feel terrible seeing these cars get wasted. It's just so lame.
As long as it's not a Sprinter van, we got you.
Don't call us if you got a Sprinter. We don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, call Buddha.
Yeah, exactly. All right, what do we think? Let's move on to the next. Yeah, let's just move on. Let's move on.
All right, JP, we got a couple of cars and bids listings. This will be fun. The first one, I couldn't resist, JP. 2010 Mitsubishi Lancer.
Let's make it a speed round. I'm sorry to cut you off, but we're nearing the end here. Speed round.
Evo 10 GSR with 10,000 miles. And a manual 5-speed transmission. JP, the 2.3-liter turbocharged inline-4 is modified to make 836 horsepower. John, with 1 day to go, our car is sitting at $17,777 on 4 bids. Classic.com tells us that the Evos on average bring 28 grand, but I think that the mods are going to carry this one to 35. So JP, the car looks stock. It's got a little bit of a stance. It's already got great suspension, great wheels and tires and brakes. It's a manual car, not a dual clutch transmission. And now we got 800 brake horsepower. Jeez. It's only at 18. I think it gets to 35. Where are you at on the Evo 10?
Yeah, I mean, our good friend Rami should buy this for his housekeeper. I mean, 800 horsepower. That's insane. You said 35. I'll go 34. I don't know what this. There was some talk of some leaky heads or something like that. I didn't get to the bottom of it. And again, God damn it, barbed wire in the background. Failure listings over and over and over again. Guys, if you have a special car, treat it as such. Get people to pay attention to it. You'll get more money. All right, last car. Let's make a quick one out of it.
All right, JP. There's Cars and Bids has a 1982 BMW 320i Sport, which I didn't know there was a sport version of this car. 5-speed manual transmission. I always love the look of these things, but they don't make any power at all. Just a 1.8-liter normally aspirated inline-4. This car is running no reserve on Cars and Bids out of Calabasas, California, and it has 193,000 miles, but it looks really clean, and it looks like they upgraded to like E30 seats. It's just kind of like a really good starter car for somebody who wants to get into the old car genre, or for the BMW head that wants to have one of each of them. JP, this car is already sitting at $9,000 by way of 8 bids. And it closes on Friday. Classic.com tells us the average selling price of the 320 is 10 grand. I think this car is going to do better than that. My bid for the Hammer is going to be $11,320. Again, JP, we're at 9 grand, 2 days to go, and running no reserve.
Yeah, get an E28. This is just why even bother with one of these. I'm going under you. I'm going $12,320 and say it fails to sell. I think this person probably has
unrealistic. No reserve.
Oh, it's no reserve. Okay, well then I feel better about it. So yeah.
And then you went over me, and I think you have a good bid. That was my original bid, and I.
You said 11. I went under. Oh yeah, I was going to say under. Okay, whatever. Screwing it up. It's the end of the show. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. It's Wednesday. We will see you Sunday with Ed Bullion, you guys. Ed Bullion.
Yeah, and then this is Kev, the photographer, Yada, and it's for sale. So if you're interested, also reach out on that car.
We will be talking about Ed Bullion's S55 that I went out and shot today, and we are going to release that video tomorrow. It'll be on the listing, so make sure you check out the Bid Nerds site, and the Cars Unknown page will release it probably on both. So thanks for hanging out, guys. Make sure you tell everyone Ed Bullion's joining us Sunday. Come and join us for the show. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thanks, everybody. Bye.